Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
A very good morning. Thank you to dear viewer for joining on our Health Corner show right here on Capuchin TV with me, Maureen Kimani, where we bring you conversations about mental health and so many more. And well, today it's a very interesting topic that we shall be discussing about that is narcissistic personality disorder, that is NPD. Maybe you have ever come across this word, maybe not. But well, don't worry, because in the studio we have two guests and they're going to be helping us by shedding more light about these NPD. What is it all about, and what can we learn and maybe know how to deal, and of course to help the people that have this disorder. So learn more about the symptoms of NPD and how it affects the person living with this disorder. And well, with that, in case you have any question about this narcissistic personality disorder, you can send your question on 0717 424 866, or you can use our SMS number, that is 21760. And also you can leave a comment on our YouTube and Facebook page, and we shall be able, and I'm sure they'll be able to answer all your questions. And moving on, allow me to introduce them. We have Veronica Maweu, right far, who is a mental health practitioner. And I understand that you have been on this field for more than 10 years. That's quite interesting, and congratulations for that, for helping even people with mental health disorder to understand more about this by creating awareness. Thank you so much for making time, Veronica. How are you, by the way?
I'm fine, Maureen. How are you?
I'm very okay.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Good to have you.
Thank you.
And thank you for making time. Yes, moving on, we have Father Silver Kibu, Capuchin brother. Thank you for making time too, brother, and maybe you can say hi to the viewers, of course.
Yes. Thank you, Maureen. Good morning to our televiewers. It's a pleasure being here today to talk about mental health, you see. And it's always very important, because that's one of the aspects that which we need. Mental health is very important for us. Thank you for this opportunity given.
Thank you so much. That is Father Silver Kibu, who is a clinical psychologist intern at Digital University. Thank you also for making time. Well, let's start with this conversation right away. Yeah. Veronica, what do you understand by this narcissistic personality disorder, that is NPD?
Okay, thank you, Maureen. Narcissistic personality disorder is one of the many mental health conditions we have, and it is a personality disorder that is characterized by a grandiose sense of self, preoccupation with achievements, beauty, and exemplary performance. Sometimes it's just an exaggerated, that is not reality actually. So the person stands out as being very, looking down upon other people and feeling like they are really invincible, that they are the greatest and no one else can match up to them. Yeah.
You've talked about grandiose. Maybe you can explain to the viewers what does the term grandiose mean?
Grandiosity is an exaggerated sense of self-importance. You're this very great, important person who everybody must recognize your importance. I mean, you are invincible. Wherever you go, people must recognize you. Yeah, and it's an exaggerated one. Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you have something to add on what Veronica has talked about.
Of course, what she's saying actually is true. But in addition to that, those are people also who seek a lot of attention. They want to be known. And sorry for my voice. And these are people too who feel that people are so jealous about them and they envy other people. And like she was underlining this aspect of that grandiosity, it comes to with a lot of fantasies about achievements. And these guys or these ladies, they feel as if they can only associate with people who are having that people of importance, of great importance. I think it's a personality disorder which you are not careful can also mar can also disturb you so much in your relationship. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Father. And I'll still come back to you so that you can tell us, do priests have this narcissistic personality disorder? But before that, let me talk to Veronica. I understand that we have different personality disorders. I don't know, 10 or even more than that. What distinguishes these NPD from other mental health disorder, I mean personality disorder?
Okay.
And maybe you can mention few.
A few, eh?
Yes.
We have several personality disorders. They are classified in clusters. I recall some time back when we were talking about drug addiction, we didn't mention a bit about it. We have 3 clusters. We have the first cluster A, B, and C. They are categorized in form of how they affect the person's relationship with other people and their view of world and reality about it. So when you look at a personality, a narcissistic personality disorder, is a personality disorder that is affecting the view of the person's self, and it impacts their interpersonal relationships. Yeah, we have those ones that affect odd and eccentric behaviors. Okay, they're the cluster A. They are closely related to schizophrenia. Yeah, so they are the odd and eccentric behaviors. Then we have those ones that are categorized in according to how they affect the person's view of the world, you know, and what is around them. Antisocial personality disorder. We have there are several in that category, and then we have those ones that affect how a person interacts with other people. Yeah. So when you talk about narcissistic personality disorder, it's a personality disorder where the person is full of themselves, so self-absorbed that they will do anything just to use whoever is around them to feed their ego. Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure this term narcissist is very common even for people who are in a relationship. You have ever had mention a girl saying, oh, my boyfriend is a narcissist, oh, I left him, blah, 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 all that kind of story. And maybe, Brother Sever, tell us, do priests have this narcissistic personality disorder?
Yeah, they do, Maureen. But before I come to that question, I would like just to add what Veronica said, which is very important. As you've said, we have 10 of them, but as she says, they're classified into clusters. This is also to permit us to be able to identify them before maybe an assessment can be done. You have cluster A, as she has said, is grouped with those personalities that have an odd behavior. All of them behave in an odd or in eccentric way, and there are 3. Out of that 10, which we have the paranoid, we have the schizotypal, and we have the schizoid. These people fall under that odd behavior. This is how we classify them. And in cluster B, as you have said, actually, we have those classified under dramatic and emotional. These guys are so dramatic, they're so emotional, and that is where the narcissistic personality disorder falls. You see, we have 4 of them there. We have the borderline, we have the histrionic, we have the antisocial. You see, she talked about it when she was talking about drug addiction once and all that, and then we have the narcissistic personality disorder, because all fall inside this cluster. And these are people who behave in dramatic and emotional way. Then we have the 3rd cluster that talks about the last 3. These are people, we classify them in this personality with a fearful and anxious way of life. They are fearful, they are anxious. These are people, we do have avoidant personality disorders, dependent personality disorders, and what we call compulsive, personality disorder. Yeah. So this is how they are classified into clusters before you can identify them, and then before you start going to assessment to identify what particular aspect. Yeah, coming to your question, sorry for taking this part. I just want to add to what my sister has said. Priests, they're human beings. That's what we have to understand. There are people who they also have. We have narcissistic priests with narcissistic personality disorders, even religious. Yeah, so it is very common. And another thing is that their social status in itself provokes that. As a priest, you are somebody who is being put up there naturally from our social context. You know, they feel that grandiose way, a priest has spoken, who should talk, and the priest is always right, from our cultural context, of course. So they have it. And this particular profession and vocation is like, I can say it's like a stimulus to that personality disorder, being so narcissistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, brother, for that. I can see Veronica is smiling right there.
Yes, maybe I can add something.
Sure.
I want to clarify that we have adaptive narcissism and maladaptive one. So I just want viewers to be clear that when a person has narcissism, it's not always negative narcissism. Some narcissism is important for adaptation. Of course, you have to have some degree of, feeling important. Otherwise, who else is going to make you feel that?
And people can look down upon you.
Yes. But now when it becomes maladaptive is when it is impairing with your adaptation to life, when it is impairing with your relationship with other people, when it is too grand, too extreme, that it is affecting how you live your life.
All right. Still, Veronica, tell us about how is this narcissistic personality disorder, the prevalence about it, and of course, maybe you can tell us, are there any demographic groups that are affected by this?
Let me use one research by a certain doctor from the US. She called Dr. Ann. She did a research this year in May 8th, she published. She talked about demographics of narcissistic personality disorder. And according to her, unfortunately, men, 75% of men will display these characteristics, while only 25% of women will display these characteristics. Of course, when you go back to the DSM, currently we're in DSM-5, TR actually, it is 6.2% of the population that is presenting with narcissistic personality disorder. So when you look at those specialized demographics, I think special population of the men. I have not come across a research, a statistics that is maybe talking about our country, Kenya, and how maybe narcissism is prevalent to which people and which people. But there was one study about the US where we had single people being the most affected by narcissistic personality disorder, and especially single people who are advanced in age, And then we had the divorced and separated coming second, and then now the least affected by narcissistic personality was the married. Yeah, and those are the special demographics I came across.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask, brother, why men?
I think you see. From this perspective, I think the cultural aspect has much to do with it, because if you look at the origin, let me talk about the origin, the causes of this personality disorder. We have the what we call the nature, of course, which is genetical, and the nurture. And the nurture, which is the environmental aspects that cause it. Men are so much vulnerable to that. Because as a man growing, you have to be a person with authority, even from childhood. You see, it depends how our parent-child relationship plays so much in as a cause of as an environmental aspect in those having narcissistic personality disorders. And when you are growing as a child, how much authority was given to you, how much importance was given to you as you were growing, and how we were considered in the family. You see, let me give you a very good example. You are ladies, you may know. You are brothers with you in the house, they hardly wash dishes. Sure. They move around, they come, they eat, they put there. Mom asks the other ones to wash it, and they feel already from that. And we know the onset comes already from the early adulthood, maybe from 18, because that's when a child gets having an awareness of his importance. Yeah. And men automatically will say, yes, I need to be in authority. I need to talk. And that's why I'm saying they are very vulnerable. That's why men from the social context, already the social life gives us that vulnerability of being narcissistic.
Okay, well, that's quite interesting, and thank you so much, brother, for that. Maybe, Veronica, you can give us some of the signs and symptoms of this narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah, there are many signs. The ones that are outlined in the DSM are 9, but when we break them down, there are so many. So those ones that I'll forget, brother will help me here. Let's start with the first one, that is grandiosity, of course. Exaggerated sense of self-importance, you know. When they're somewhere, you must recognize them. And if you don't, actually, it affects them. Yeah. Then there is the tendency to look down upon people. And as he had mentioned, they have this specialized category of people they can hang out with because those are the people who, you know, match up their abilities, their grandiosity. There are people they believe are up there like them. And then people with narcissistic personality disorders also tend to, they tend to use the people around them. I was watching one counselor was giving something about narcissistic personalities, and she was talking about how these people will act like an animal, you know. Are they able to become a predator to you, that you become their prey? Then they will use you. So every time a person is with a narcissistic personality, the person is not important. The only importance is if you feed their ego. So if you are able to help them feel inflated in ego, then you will be close to them. And immediately after they use you and have already enough of what they could suck out from you, then they release you. So it's like a predator, okay? Narcissistic personality is also so full of themselves that they don't empathize with the people around them. They don't have an ability to take into consideration.
They don't have empathy?
Yeah?
They don't have empathy?
Yes, they don't have actually, they're the complete opposite of empaths, because there are people we call empaths, yeah? So a narcissistic personality has no empathy. The only thing they have is full of themselves. So even if they hurt you, they hurt your feelings, they hurt your emotions, they don't care, you know? And then they're also abusive in nature. To some degree, a narcissist is abusive. And maybe later on in the show, of course, we'll mention something called narcissistic abuse, because most of them will use intimidation to keep their victim in that state of, you know, in an inability to question them, in an inability to challenge them. So they use a lot of manipulation, they use a lot of intimidation, yeah? And they manipulate you just for them to get whatever it is they want to get. And they use also something we call gaslighting a lot. Gaslighting is when they make you question your sense of sanity, you know?
Making you look like you're crazy.
Yes, yes. And that is one of the symptoms also we find with a lot of abusive men, you know, when you see these things on TV and there are these women coming out and they've been in abusive marriages, or maybe even men being in abusive marriages, and there's a lot of gaslighting in it. You know, you said something, and that time you said it, one day you tell the person, you remember you told me, are you in your right senses of mind? When did I say that? You know, and you get to a point where you're also questioning yourself. If you've ever gotten to a point where you feel like you need to be recording conversations because you feel like the person is going out of their own word, then you are with a narcissist, because that is the sensation you will get. You know, and they can change everything you say will be used against you. When you're with a narcissist, it's like when you get arrested. You see, when you get arrested, the police will tell you, you have the right to do what? To remain silent. Because everything you say
will be used against you.
Yes, in a court of law. So with a narcissist, it gets to that point, you know. They have that characteristic of, you know, you will say something and then they'll always turn it, you know, for their favor. Remember, everything a narcissist does is for their favor, is for them. You don't matter when you're with a narcissist. So long as you can inflate their ego, then you will be with them. They can be your friend, they can be your relative, they can be your spouse, they can be your employer, or you know, a co-worker or something. But every time you're with a narcissist, it doesn't matter where they are. Always remember, they come first, and you don't matter to them. So maybe a brother can add a few.
At least, thank you, Veronica. She has touched, I think, the most important point. But just adding to that, these are people who cannot apologize. It's difficult. They cannot just do that. And as he says that these are people, their priority is what is important for them. Even in love, you see, if you want to know whether a narcissistic person loves you, just see if she puts your priority up before his. Yes, that's when you can understand them. What they do, it is very important. They like to manipulate people. He can get into something with you. You feel as if he's collaborating with you, but what is in his mind is to get what he wants to get. And you will feel that he is going very close to you. Maybe he needs to help you, but the important thing is for him. And that's why these people, you see, to get along with them, but it's very easy to get along with them. That is a strange thing. Narcissistic people with narcissistic personalities, they have so many friends. Because these are guys that they are well spoken, they have sweet language, they can easily convince you, and you feel that they feel for you, you see, but they are not. They don't. Yeah, they don't from their personality per se, you see. So it's something that they are very cunning, if I can use the word. Guys, they are very cunning, and it's very important for you to notice that. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to take a very short break. Thank you so much, Brother Sever and Veronica, for that. And when we come back, you shall tell us maybe what are some of the factors that contribute to this narcissistic personality disorder. And of course, you can maybe help friends to learn if they see a sign about this, a friend or even a partner who is behaving in such kind of a way, how they can get help on that maybe after when we come for the break. Thank you so much for the viewers for staying tuned in. We're going to take a very short break on our Health Corner show right here on Capuchin TV. Stay tuned.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
Amigos, les pregunto, ¿están dispuestos a decir que sí?
A meeting of young people from all over the world with the Pope. A party of youth. A bath. A gathering among cultures. Moments of sharing and faith. Young people as protagonists, seeking for peace, union, fraternity, among peoples from all over the world. A challenge for all.
No se metan en la cola de la historia, sean protagonistas, jueguen para adelante, pateen adelante, construyan un mundo mejor.
A transforming and memorable experience. Lisbon 2023. Are you ready?
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV.
Welcome back, dear viewer, on our Health Corner show right here on Capuchin TV with me, Maureen Kimani. And thank you for staying tuned on this conversation about narcissistic personality disorder. I hope you are grasping a lot of information so that you can be able also to create awareness to your friends and, of course, to your family members. And, of course, maybe in case you're joining us right now, we have two guests in the studio. On my far right, we have Veronica Maweu, who is a mental health practitioner. And moving on, we have Brother Sever, a Capuchin brother, who is a clinical psychologist intern at Daystar University. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we can continue with the conversation from where we left. I think I mentioned after the break, we shall talk about the causes or factors contributing to this narcissistic personality disorder. I think, Brother Sever, you can take that.
Yeah, thank you, Maureen. As you know, I touched it a bit when I was talking. With the causes, we always have from two perspectives. We have what we call the natural, that's from nature, which is genetical. That's what you have inherited. You see, those are biological causes. And we also do have the nurture, which the nurture is an environmental causes. And with the environmental causes, which is very fundamental for us, it comes from your childhood experiences, parent-child relationship. Already, if you have a child, it depends on the exaggerated attention, exaggerated relationship that you have with the child. I say, well, exaggerated because you need some attention for your child. You need to give some attention, of course, to your children. But then, when all this is exaggerated, the child develops that. And like I gave examples in the family where the boy child, because we were talking about the prevalence, we said more men than women.
Sure.
Because when the boy child is there, they don't let the child understand that, others are equal. Already from our cultural perspective, the boy feels that I'm a man, men should not do this. You see, men should not help the ladies.
Cook.
A man doesn't go to sit in the kitchen and cook. Like the boy child is there, I prefer just to be with dad, sitting at the parlor and the other ones. So all those things, they contribute a lot. They contribute a lot. Yes, I think those environmental causes are very important. But then, before we look at the causes of it, it's very important to dismiss first the physiological aspect. Because somebody can have a traumatic experience that makes him develop that. You see, we must first of all dismiss all the physiological causes. Say, okay, this is not caused to order. This is an aspect. Yeah.
Okay.
Before we go to those other aspects to determine that this is a narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, brother. I think, Veronica, before we had gone for the break, you mentioned about the abuse, narcissistic abuse. Maybe you can talk to us about the cycle.
Yeah, thank you, Maureen. Let me go back to the Bible, 1 Kings chapter 21, the story of Ahab and Jezebel and Naboth's vineyard. When you look at Jezebel and Ahab, actually Ahab, when he wanted to buy Naboth's vineyard by force, Naboth declined because he had inherited that vineyard. But what happened? Ahab could not sleep. He could not eat. He was disturbed. He had an entitlement to that piece of land, yeah? Until to a degree where he did what? They murdered Naboth, isn't it? Just to have the vineyard. A narcissist will be entitled to everything that is not even belonging to them, yeah? So one of the ways in which they abuse, one of the ways in which narcissistic abuse occurs is because a narcissist has that entitlement feeling, and when they have an entitlement to their victim, then their victim must submit in all ways. So when there is narcissistic abuse, we're talking about financial abuse, we're talking about emotional abuse, we're talking about they withdraw even those emotions. Like when you hurt a narcissist, they will go silent treatment, And then after the silent treatment, that is the time you're asking yourself, what did I do to this person? Why are they silent on me all of a sudden? And all that. Just because you did not inflate their ego, then they'll come back with something we call love bombing. And there'll be a lot of love, you know? And it will look like nothing had gone wrong. Yeah, hi, why have you been so silent? In fact, it is them now asking, you know? And when there is narcissistic abuse, there is also a lot of withdrawing you from your center of attention. That means when you're with a narcissist, especially like a partner, they will not want you to have relationship with your family, with your friends, with your, you know, they isolate their victim. You've seen, I mentioned them being a predator and you becoming the prey. What does the big cat do when they want to attack a certain prey? They isolate the prey from the rest of the herd. That is exactly what a narcissist will do to you. They'll make sure you have no good relationship for support so that you're now left with them alone, you know? And wherever there is narcissistic abuse, there'll be a lot of demeaning, devaluing. You lose your sense of, you're no longer a person. You get to a point where even the moment when you say something and they applaud you, you even feel like you didn't deserve that, you know, that applauding. Because there's been a lot of devaluing of you. There's been a lot of, you know, sucking out from you that you've already gotten to that point where you feel like you don't deserve to be treated well, you don't deserve happiness, you don't deserve, in fact, you get addicted to the cycle of violence. That is how some people end up being killed in marriages. And you will hear the neighbors saying, tulikuwa tumeona hiyo, walikuwa wamepigana miaka mingi. And you will hear people asking, why didn't she leave? Because there's been that cycle. So what narcissistic abuse feels like is, number one, you've been sucked out. You no longer have a self-esteem. You've been drained in all aspects, physically, psychologically, spiritually, socially. You've been drained. There's nothing left on you. And then now they inflict everything they want on you.
Okay.
And maybe I add something. A narcissist can tell something about you which is not true and make it look like it is true, because remember, Father said something. They have so many friends. In fact, they have this common phrase, mini rafiki ya kila mtu. So they have so many people around them that when you don't become their feed, because when you go and read about narcissistic personality, they only need you when they can feed on you. When you stop feeding the narcissist ego, they let you go. And they let you go in a very bad manner. They can actually destroy your name in front of all those friends, they will say. And they will never have empathy about it. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Moving on. Before, brother, you add on something. There's a question here from Mildred Anyango. She says, so when you discover that you are married to such a person, how can you go out of such a union? Ukiondoka hapa na kuua na watoto wote, you'll never be married more. You'll not go with my children. That is Mildred Anyango asking that. I don't know who's going to take that.
Yeah, let me just say something. What Mildred is saying, you know, mental disorders doesn't mean that we cannot handle it. You see, one thing is to be aware. If you are aware that your husband is a narcissistic type, I think it's easy for you to adapt. Because one of the things that we do when we live with people who are narcissistic is knowing the way they function. For example, as Mildred was talking, you can avoid some of the abuses, or you can give a deaf ear to what they do. There are people who don't like to spend. Narcissistic cannot spend their money. Before you have money from them, at least you must be serious, even in relationships. You see. So I think what I can tell her is that you won't be separating yourself from that. The first thing you need to ask for help. Let the lady take the husband to a counselor. It can be handled. Yeah, it's not just because it's narcissistic that say, okay, the marriage should end. No, it is not something stigmatized with you that you can't come out of it. The awareness of having a narcissistic husband is already a great thing. Then from that, you can then seek help, professional help. You go to a professional counselor who can handle narcissistic situations. And you will love your husband because they also have the positive part of it. It's not that, as Veronica said, narcissists are just like, that is just the bad part of it. Their other part is so sweet because there are guys that can be very romantic. If you don't know, so you can help by asking for help to a professional who can help that out.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Brother Sever. And I hope, Mildred, your question was well answered by Father Sever. Thank you so much. And moving on to you, Veronica, now. Tell us, how can these NPD impact individuals' relationship, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, one thing that we didn't mention about a narcissist is the fact that behind that masked grandiosity, behind that person who is so inflated in ego, is a very fragile person behind all that inflation. So one way in which it affects their relationships is because they are anxious. They need to be in this constant elevation, self-elevation, because if they are not there, they don't know where else to be. A narcissist is a person who is very broken inside, a person who is very fearful inside, a person who has a very low self-esteem inside. But how they deal with that is inflating in the public eye, looking like they are this very big person and even believing in that lie in themselves. That is why they'll constantly need they'll constantly need a source. It's actually called a source. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you're a source because they feed on you. How do they feed on you? The more you are able to be there, the more they're able to inflate their ego. So it impacts them in that way. And how it impacts their relationship with other people is because now they end up inflicting pain on other people, sometimes without knowing. You know, because we said when you're with a narcissist, it's like you're not a personality. It's like you don't. How I can put this is, for example, when you're married to a narcissist, you don't have a you. Like, you are absorbed to them. That is how they look at it. So you don't have a right to make decisions. You don't have a right to question things. You don't have a right to come up with your own thing. Okay, you have no rights whatsoever because they are the ones. It's like they have absorbed you into them. So how they impact other people who are around them in that manner. Okay, and remember we said they have a lot of gaslighting. Remember we said they have a lot of emotional. They affect people emotionally, you know. They lack empathy, you know. They will go about talking about you, and it is not going to occur to them that Maureen has she's a person and she might feel pain, you know, out of this. That one is not going to occur to them. So they will affect the people around them in all those manners, and sometimes they'll not be able to recognize that because they lack empathy. They cannot know they're hurting you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And there's a question here, and this person says, what do you advise a person who is dealing with a relationship with a narcissistic person?
A relationship, not married?
I think so, yeah, not married.
Okay, because you see, when Father was answering Mildred,
not married.
Father was answering a married person.
Not
and
married.
We know in the Catholic Church, marriages forever, yeah. But for a person who is not married, number one, you need to go and work on yourself, because once you are with a narcissist, you lose a lot of yourself in the narcissist, okay? And if you're not able to regain your self-esteem again, you're gonna be in that cycle of abuse for a very long period of time. You know, you see, at least in marriage, you can work with this person to therapy. In a relationship, the person might not be willing to go with you in therapy. So it's important for you to, first of all, go to therapy, work on yourself so that the therapist can help you regain yourself. Because you've lost yourself most of the time when you're with a narcissist. You even get to points where you start questioning your own reality. Remember, from the gaslighting.
Yeah, the gaslighting.
Yeah. And then you have these moments where you've been given a lot of love that you feel like there is no other person other than this one. But you need to go to therapy, first of all, work on reality, work on yourself, regain yourself again. And then now you are able to get to a position where you can make a decision. Yeah? Are you able to tell this person to also go to therapy? Or are you able to just leave that relationship where it is? Is that relationship going somewhere? Because if you go deep and ask a lot of professionals, they'll tell you that if you're with a narcissist, you don't matter to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
in case you're able to go and work on that relationship with them in therapy, then that would be amazing. But if you're not able to do that, it's just a relationship. I don't know how long into the relationship the person is, but then if you realize it's something that can harm you, can hurt you, and can greatly affect you in future, then
You can walk out.
yes.
All right. There
Yeah,
you
I
have
think
it.
I can just add something to that.
Sure, brother.
I think that is why I always advise couples, those who are getting to a relationship, to go for premarital counseling, because they are going to help you know your different personalities. That will be assessed. And the second thing, narcissistic personality disorder, it is not as if those guys, I say guys because being
most
from the answer
affected,
to this
yeah.
question, yeah, it's talking about a guy. It is not as if they do that consciously. Yeah, they are ignorant of the fact, and they don't accept. But when you draw their awareness, say, hey, guy, this is a problem your wife is having because you are this, then they think. You know, counseling is not like we impose things on you, we make an awareness. And when he takes that awareness with some other values that he has and the love he has for the lady, he might want it to change. He might not change fully, but he will be aware that, hi, I need to allow her to do what she wants if she should be happy.
Okay.
Yes, I need to give her some space. Because like for them, like they like a lot of being praised. When you praise them, they are so nice. They are happy with you. At times, that lady might be somebody too of a certain personality. We are talking about other personalities, like a dependent personality. You see, if that type of a lady gets to a narcissistic relationship, she will just be happy because she likes to say, they have to tell me what to do. They have to tell me what this and this. So a dependent personality lady, you see, it will like fit in a narcissistic way because she's just there like my guy is telling me to do this, my guy doesn't want this and all that. So it all depends. So what I would tell the person who has asked the question, first of all, seek for premarital counseling. And the fact that you see your different personalities. And the personalities might not blend, but the person with the narcissistic personality can be able also to work on himself. It doesn't mean that you are narcissistic, you are dying narcissistic. Then it means narcissistic guys will never get married. But I know of very good couples where the man is narcissistic. So let ladies not just put in their mind that, oh, my husband is narcissistic, so it can't work. That is a myth. Yeah, that's a myth.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you take them, you go for counseling, you bring up a wonderful narcissistic guy that you don't even want to allow him go again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, still on you further. I think I'll pose this question because we talked about the prevalence. Veronica mentioned about the men are the most affected with this disorder. Tell us, how can NPD in priest be addressed?
Yeah. It's a very good question. First of all, you have to help them to be aware. You see, there are formative courses. Like we don't just get up and ordain a priest. In the course of their formation, we also have psychological assessments and already dealing with others still in the seminary information. They identify and they say, no, you have to change this. You have to work on this. And actually they start working on it. Because maybe you are still coming to it, there are possible ways of dealing with them, like treatment. Or first of all, for what I know, there are no medication prescribed for narcissistic personality disorders, except it is going in line with other disorders. For example, like a narcissist having depression, like a narcissist having anxiety. Okay, he can take antidepressants or anti-anxiety drugs, but as drugs per se for narcissistic personality disorders, I don't know that. Then the second one, they can have therapy. And the therapy, you can work with priests who are narcissistic, is what we call talk therapy. That's psychotherapy. You see, using therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps them, you see, to understand themselves so they can come out from that narcissistic personality way of life. Yeah, priests who are narcissistic, having narcissistic personality, they can be helped.
Okay.
And they go along when they are aware.
All right. I understand that the time is not on our side. I don't know, Veronica, if you still have maybe something to add about this conversation on the narcissistic?
Maybe just to bring to our awareness that there is a category of problems that are suffered by people with people who journey with narcissists and people with also the narcissistic personality. And some of these are depression, anxiety, he mentioned, and most of them sometimes will end up using substances, so we see that correlation between people with narcissism or narcissistic personality disorders and the use of substances. It is important for, as Father said, that once you discover that the person I am with looks like they're exhibiting narcissistic personality disorder, it's good to seek help, therapeutic professional help, so that the therapist will, number one, help you understand your own personality, as Father put it, and also equip you with skills. We have various therapeutic techniques that can be applied that will equip you with skills to know how to live with the narcissist, because in this case, if it is your mother, your father, your brother, you can't run away from those people.
Sure.
So they will equip you with skills to know how to live with those people, so that it also doesn't affect you to a degree where you suffer what we call the victim syndrome or the narcissistic victim syndrome. So it is important for people living with narcissists to know it can impact them, and they should actually seek professional help.
All right. Thank you, Veronica, for that. I guess, brother, moving to you, what's your parting shots on this?
Yeah, I thank you people very much for this opportunity given, and I would like to let our televiewers to understand that narcissistic personality disorder is not something that you just get stigmatized. No, it can be handled. Just have an awareness, and you can come out of that. You can come out of that and feel good about yourself and impact others too in a very wonderful way.
Thank you so much, Veronica, and for the Severe for making time, of course, to come in to have this conversation to our viewers. I don't know, just as I said, Veronica, you have something else to add? You're good, because we know this topic is quite wide. I think we can have another episode where we can continue on this conversation, because we haven't exhausted a lot of things on narcissistic personality disorder.
Maybe just to encourage viewers, in the Bible, we do have characters who looked like they exhibited narcissistic personality disorder. So as Father said, let nobody feel like I'm going to be stigmatized because of having narcissism. It's just that we need to work on it. And also, let's not forget prayers, because prayers always work, So there'll be a lot of encouragement and prayers and psychotherapy, and everything can eventually work out.
All right. Thank you so much to both of you, and may God bless you. And my parting shot is that I'm going to read something here. Like any other mental health condition requires sensitive approach, creating awareness, understanding, and empathy can foster a more inclusive and compassionate environment for everyone, regardless their struggle. So thank you so much to all of you for tuning into this conversation, and of course for sending your questions, and thank you for following this conversation. And of course, I want to say thank you to the Capuchin TV crew that has been behind the scene. We have Christopher Odhiambo, we have Sami Bor, we have Peter Mwangi. Thank you so much, and all the people involved. May God bless you, and wishing you a very good day. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
we spread our wings, and here we are. And with Mary proclaiming our yes, we seek to serve and follow the will of the Lord, our Father. Chiamati ad essere come Cristo Gesù, vogliamo dare, diventare docili a sì, essere come Maria. Todos vão ouvir a nossa voz, levantemos os braços, a peça no ar. Jesus vive e não nos deixa sós, não mais deixaremos de amar. Tu que buscas saber quién eres, hazte a descubrir, ven a ver lo que vi.
Ven con nosotros a mirar más allá
De lo que haces y que no te deja de ir y amar. Oublie le passé, médite-le, écoute dans ton cœur et par son cœur sur cette mission. Todos vão ouvir a nossa voz, levantemos os braços, a peça no ar. Jesus vive e não nos deixa sós, não mais deixaremos de amar.
È stata Maria ad accogliere per prima la grande sorpresa della vita per sempre. Fiduciosa e semplice vuole ricevere il grande mistero di un Dio che è per te, per me.
No puedo callar, no puedo dejar de cantar mi Señor. Cuenta conmigo, no más callaré. Todos vão ouvir a nossa voz, levantemos os braços, a peça no ar. Jesus vive e não nos deixa sós, não mais deixaremos de amar. Sans aucun doute sur sa mission, si jeune Marie quitte promptement sa maison et part dans les montagnes, voir Élisabeth et tourne immédiatement cette nation communion. Le fruit est béni, c'est mon Seigneur, and I want to hear you trust in my word, and happiness is yours. Todos vão ouvir a nossa voz, levantemos os braços, a peça no ar. Jesus vive e não nos deixa sós, não mais deixaremos de amar. Todos vão ouvir a nossa voz, levantemos os braços.
deixa sós, não mais deixaremos de amar.